Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcoming you to another edition with Game Time with Kenny. Game Time with Kenny is back in the house and we are ready to rock and roll. And yes, there were some thrilling NHL playoff games yesterday as game one of the second round series begins in both Boston and in St. Louis. And we'll go through the breakdowns of those games in a moment. There was one NBA game. There was a game six that took place in San Antonio between the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs. Will the Spurs season continue or would they lose on their home court against the Denver Nuggets? We'll find out in just a moment. But here's a sad note first before we go into the NFL draft that took place yesterday in the first round. There are 7 rounds in this NFL draft, and over 250 players will be selected to represent these 7 rounds. And the first round did get completed yesterday, and we'll go through some of the breakdowns in what happened. Obviously, we will not be able to cover the full uh, full venue of all the picks, but we will go through some of them um, in this edition of Game Time with Kenny. Um, the sad note that took place, the Boston Celtics legend John Havlicek. He died at the age of 79. So he was definitely one of the more remarkable players and part of the Boston Celtics organization. Uh, he would be sorely missed. And so the Celtics legend again, John Havlicek, dies at the age of 79. So that is a sad note uh, that did take place. As expected, the Arizona Cardinals, as we said yesterday, according to Mel Kiper, he projected it, and it did happen. The Arizona Cardinals do get the first pick. They get the quarterback out of Oklahoma. Uh, Murray does go there. The second pick goes to the San Francisco 49ers. They get defensive end out of Ohio State, Bosa. And then the Jets pick third yesterday. They get the defensive tackle out of Alabama, Williams. And the Raiders get the defensive end out of Clemson, uh, Farrell. And Tampa Bay gets the inside linebacker out of LSU, White. He does go there. And that was what took place in the first 5 picks of the first round yesterday. Again, that is what briefly happened as far as the NFL draft is concerned. And, let's go through some of the other picks real briefly. And if we go through some of the other picks, okay. The Giants draft Duke quarterback Jones as Eli's potential heir. They didn't go with Dwayne Haskins. They went with the LSU quarterback, Jones. And he does like to learn from Eli. You think he's a great person to learn from. So hopefully, he's going to be what the Giants do expect, and that he would be the successor to succeed Eli Manning. So that is what also took place in yesterday's action. Going back to the NFL, let's go through
some of the schedule. If we have time, we'll go through week 7 a little bit later on in the program. But let's go through week 6 of the NFL schedule this year in 2019. It begins on October the 10th on a Thursday night game. The New York Giants in Foxborough to take on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Um, that may be a pretty good game. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how the Giants play leading up to week number 6 when they go into Foxborough. So we'll see how the first 5 pans out. Um, we'll have to see how Jones, if he is playing, how he will do um, succeeding Eli Manning. The Sunday games, um, the NFL on CBS will have the doubleheader. The first game will be the Houston Texans as they travel into Kansas City to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Others will see the New Orleans Saints and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cincinnati Bengals are in Baltimore to take on the Ravens. And in the late games, um, most of you in the NFL on CBS will get the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Jets. So they will be traveling to the Meadowlands twice this year. They'll be playing both the Jets and the Giants. And in week 6, they make their trip there to take on the New York Jets. And others will see the Tennessee Titans at Denver to take on the Denver Broncos. And Fox NFL Sunday, they have the regional action play. Um, the Seattle Seahawks are in Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. Others will see the Washington Redskins at the Miami Dolphins. The Philadelphia Eagles will be in Minnesota to take on the Vikings. And a couple of games that will be late in the day at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, and 10 a.m. for those of you in the Hawaiian Standard Time Zone. You'll get the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams from the LA Coliseum, or you'll get the Atlanta Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. Sunday night NFL will be the Pittsburgh Steelers at the LA Chargers. And Monday Night Football will feature the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. The bye weeks in week number 6 are going to be the Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Oakland Raiders. I think my best pick for the game to watch that week, I'm interested to see how the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs, when they go into Arrowhead and they take on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm really looking forward to seeing that game. And I'm also, for the late game, I'm looking forward to the 49ers and the Rams. See how Bosa on the defensive side, how he makes an impact against the Rams. And that should be a classic NFC Western Division matchup when they play in week 6 at the LA Coliseum. All right, so now let's turn our attention to the NBA. Yesterday, there was only one game. There was a game 6 that took place in the NBA in San Antonio. The Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs. A Denver win, they go into the second round of the NBA playoffs. A San Antonio victory means that there will be a game 7, which will occur on Saturday in Denver. So what happened here? Well, DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, they played their best all-around games together in game 6 that led the San Antonio Spurs to a 120-103 victory, and they do force a game number 7 as the two will play in Denver, Saturday night at 10 Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, and 4 p.m. in the Hawaiian Standard Time Zone for those of you in Hawaii. Game one of the Eastern Conference semifinals, the Philadelphia 76ers will make their trip to Toronto. That will be the first game that will occur on Saturday. And looking ahead into Sunday, right now, game number 7, if there is a necessary game 7, that will occur between the LA Clippers and the Golden State Warriors in Oakland. That will be a 3:30 Eastern time start, 12:30 Pacific, and 9:30 in the morning for those of you in the Hawaiian Standard Time Zone. But game 1, Boston Celtics in Milwaukee. That will occur on Sunday, and that will be at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and 7 a.m. for those of you in the Hawaiian Standard Time Zone. So getting back into yesterday's action, when you look at the breakdown of this game, and let's look at the box scores here. The Denver Nuggets, they didn't really get much bench production. They only really got 13 points off the bench, with Morris getting 4 points, Plumlee having only 5, and then Beasley and Barton both having only 2 points. They were led by Jokic, who played a monster game. He had 43 points in yesterday's game, but it was not enough because Millsap, he didn't play much of a game there. He only had 12. And then Murray has 16 and Harris has 14. But Jokic, he had 43, but it wasn't enough in the loss in San Antonio. Kevin Durant, in the last game, in game number 5, he had 45 points against the LA Clippers, but that was not enough either. As again, Draymond Green only had 7 points in that game, and you're not going to get it done with only one player scoring over 40 points, and you're not really getting contribution from anywhere else. And that's what happened in both Golden State and with Denver last night. When you get on the San Antonio side, look at this. I mean, Aldridge, he had 26. DeRozan, he had 25. They scored 51 of the San Antonio's 120 points. They almost scored 50% of their point total yesterday. Incredible. And White chipped in with 13 and Forbes chipped in with 12. Off the bench, they were led by Gay, who had 19. And then you had Mills, who had 6. Bellinelli had 9. And then Walker also had 2 points. But again, Gay coming off the bench with 19 to lead San Antonio off the bench. So really, again, the Denver Nuggets, Jokic did have 43, but one player scoring over 40 points, and you're not really getting the contribution from others. That's what happened in the loss with Denver yesterday and with Golden State in Game 5 against the LA Clippers. Well, this is another wake-up call for the Warriors. And tonight, they play game number 6 at home they're in LA this time against the LA Clippers. And that is going to be a great game. And I think the Warriors are going to take care of business. They're going to go down there and they're going to get the victory, and they will celebrate to go into the second round to face the Houston Rockets on Sunday. So that's what's going on around in the NBA. In the National Hockey League, what can you say? I mean, there was a couple of great games that took place Uh, just awesome finishes. When you take a look at the Boston Bruins, they had a hot Columbus Blue Jackets team that did come in to Boston yesterday, and they had just swept the Tampa Bay Lightning. They had all the rest they needed, and now they get the awesome, true test the Boston Bruins do to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets and see if Columbus can win 5 straight or will the Boston Bruins pull off the victory. Well, let's go into that game yesterday. And when you go into that game, you see Rask. He had 20 saves. Bobrovsky had a great game as well. But I want you guys to watch the game-winning goal in this game as Coyle wins it for the Bruins in overtime. So let's see how the Bruins were able to do it in the overtime. So give me 1 second as it gets uploaded here. Okay.
I'm Paige, and well, the little thing that I like about a golden sandwich is that it's perfect. It's juicy and it just has all the right combinations.
Okay, so yeah, it's a little advertisement, so just give us a second here. Okay. So here's
The Jackets right now are hoping that this was offside, but I think they stayed onside on Henrik Gausson. What a passing play this is. Moving it from right over to left and then back on the back door.
all right. So that is how the Boston Bruins were able to pull off the victory. And amazing game as it took place yesterday. So when you look back at that game, Charlie Coyle, amazing, as the Boston Bruins get the 3-2 victory in overtime in that game. Again, Coyle gets the game winner. He gets his 5th of the playoffs with that victory. He did get 2 goals in yesterday's game against Carolina. So that took place there. Now let's go to the Dallas Stars and the St. Louis Blues. They played game 1 in St. Louis as well. They get a win 3-2. So let's see what happened here, and let's see if we can show you highlights of what actually happened here in this game, and see if we can show the game-winning goal as well. Okay. Looks like we don't have the video for that one. So, okay, let's go to Major League Baseball. Then from yesterday, the LA Dodgers, they go into Wrigley Field. They get the 2-1 victory in the game yesterday there. Cincinnati beats Atlanta 4-2. Arizona defeats Pittsburgh 5-0. The Miami Marlins go into Philadelphia and win 3-1 and 10. Boston beats Detroit 7-3. The Cleveland Indians also get a 2-1 victory in Houston. The Angels defeat the New York Yankees 11-5. And the Seattle Mariners get the 14-2 victory over the Texas Rangers. All right, let's go through and find out what happened in history today in sports on April the 26th. In the year 1900, the American League Baseball opener in Cleveland draws a crowd in Cleveland, Ohio of 6,500. In 1905, the Chicago Cubs, Jack McCarthy becomes the only major league player to throw out 3 runners at the plate in one game. All were ends of a double play. Wow, that is truly amazing. In 1912, the first home run hit at Fenway Park, Hugh Bradley of the Boston Red Sox. In 1931, Lou Gehrig hits a home run, but is called out for passing a runner. The mistake costs him American League home run crown. He and Babe Ruth tie for season. In 1935, Frank Boucher is given the NHL's Lady Byng Trophy for sportsmanship permanently for winning it 7 of 11 years. In 1941, a tradition begins. First Oregon at a baseball stadium, Chicago Cubs. In 1950, there are 2 events that take place here. Last horse race at Havre de Grace Track in Maryland is run, and the University of Miami is William and Mary straight tennis match victories at 82. In 1959, Lee Smith wins LPGA Betsy Rawls Golf Open. In 1962, Boston Red Sox Bill Monbouquet no-hits the Chicago White Sox 1-0. In 1964, in the 18th NBA championship, the Boston Celtics beat the San Francisco Warriors 4-1. They are called the Golden State Warriors, but back in 1964, they were the San Francisco Warriors. Now, as you know, the Warriors eventually are going to be moving across the bay. Instead of being in Oakland, they are going to be in San Francisco. Will they be known as the San Francisco Warriors as they were back in 1964? Or will they keep the name as the Golden State Warriors? Remains to be seen. In 1964 also, Marilyn Smith wins the LPGA Title Holders Golf Championship. In 1966, Arnold Red Auerbach retires as Boston Celtics head coach. In 1969, the Firestone World Bowling Tournament Mercury Open was won by Jim Godman. 1974, New York Yankees trade Peterson, Bean, Klein, and Buskey to Cleveland Indians for Chambliss, Tidrow, and Upshaw. 1975, Philadelphia Phillies Mike Schmidt's 2 home runs ties the National League record of 11 home runs in April. In 1980, 2 things do take place here. Gerard Nijboer runs Dutch record marathon in 2 hours and 9 minutes and 1 second. The Philadelphia Phillies Steve Carlton pitches his 6th one-hitter, beats the St. Louis Cardinals. In 1981, Beth Solomon wins the LPGA Birmingham Golf Classic. In 1982, Gene Michaels becomes the New York Yankees manager for the 2nd time. In 1983, the San Antonio Spurs beat the Denver Nuggets 152-133 in NBA playoff game. In 1986, the baseball game between the California Angels and the Minnesota Twins were delayed for 9 minutes by strong winds. In 1986, the Firestone World Bowling Tournament of Champions won by Marshall Holman. In 1988, 2 things happen here. NBA approves the addition of 3rd referee in the 1988-89 season. Also, the New York Mets, Davey Johnson becomes a 2nd manager for 400 victories in the first 4 years. Al Lopez did it first. In 1990, two things do happen here. The New York Court of Appeals ends a 2.5-year legal battle over 1988 America's Cup by refusing jurisdiction of the case. Also, Nolan Ryan ties Bob Feller's record of pitching 12 one-hitters. In 1991, soccer star Diego Maradona, suspended for using cocaine, arrested in Argentina for possession and distribution of illegal narcotics. In 1992, two things happen here. Maggie Will wins the LPGA Sara Lee Golf Classic, and Ozzie Smith steals his 500th base. In 1995, two things happen here. The American baseball season begins after a lengthy strike, and Coors Field opens in Denver. Colorado Rockies beat the New York Mets 11-9 in 14 innings. In 1996, Sean Polk takes 4 wickets in 4 balls for Warwickshire in B&H. And finally, in 2010, first baseman Ryan Howard agrees to a $125 million 5-year contract extension with the Philadelphia Phillies. And that is what's happened today in sports history. Well, today, as you see, time has pretty much run out for us. There is so much that we do want to cover, but the material is just so impossible to try to get it all in one program. We are going to be continuing to do it as each episode and as each program does continue. Please write to us. Please comment. And thank you for watching today. And we will see you again tomorrow morning. You have a great day. Bye.